Picture this. You are sitting at a table. You are eating a simple, ordinary sandwich. It is a completely normal day. You take a bite, you chew, and you swallow. But suddenly, something goes terribly wrong. A tiny piece of bread slips past your tongue and goes down the wrong pipe. Instantly, you start coughing violently. Your eyes water, you panic, you gasp for air, but nothing happens. Your airway is completely blocked. You are suffocating. If someone doesn't perform the Heimlich maneuver on you in the next few minutes, you are going to die. You are literally going to die over a sandwich. Every single year, thousands of human beings die simply because they were trying to eat lunch. Choking is one of the leading causes of accidental death globally. We choke on steak, we choke on grapes, we choke on hot dogs, and sometimes we even choke on our own saliva. From a purely engineering standpoint, the human throat is an absolute catastrophic disaster. It is a biological hazard. To understand how completely absurd our anatomy is, you have to look at the rest of the animal kingdom. Look at a snake. A snake can unhinge its jaw and swallow an entire rat whole. The rat is massive. It completely fills the snake's mouth and throat, and yet the snake does not choke. It breathes perfectly fine while slowly digesting a massive animal. Look at your dog. If you throw a huge chunk of meat to a dog, it doesn't carefully chew it into tiny paste like we do. It just bites it once and aggressively swallows the whole massive chunk. Does the dog choke and die? No. It happily waits for the next piece. In fact, almost no other animal on planet Earth faces the daily, constant threat of choking on their food. Why? Because the animal kingdom has a brilliant, foolproof biological design. In almost all mammals, the tube used for breathing and the tube used for eating are completely separated. Imagine two distinct highways. One highway is the esophagus. This is the food pipe. It connects the mouth directly to the stomach. The other highway is the trachea. This is the windpipe. It connects the nose directly to the lungs. In a dog or a cat or a horse, these two highways run parallel to each other. They do not cross. When a dog breathes through its nose, the air goes straight to the lungs. When a dog eats through its mouth, the food goes straight to the stomach. The breathing tube is positioned high up, safely out of the way of the swallowing food. It is a perfect, safe, logical system. But human biology? Human biology took that perfect system and completely destroyed it. In humans, the windpipe and the food pipe don't stay separated. They merge. They intersect in a shared, crowded crossroad at the back of your throat called the pharynx. Imagine a massive, busy highway intersection where high-speed cars and heavy cargo trucks are forced to cross paths without any traffic lights. That is your throat. Every single time you take a breath, the air must pass through the same exact tunnel that your food uses. Every single time you swallow a piece of pizza, that pizza must travel directly over the open hole of your windpipe. Ugh! It is insane! You are dropping solid objects directly over the open vent to your lungs. So, what is stopping the pizza from falling into your lungs and killing you? One tiny, fragile piece of cartilage called the epiglottis. The epiglottis acts like a biological trapdoor. Whenever you swallow, your brain sends a rapid signal, and this tiny flap folds down to cover the entrance of your windpipe. It acts as a temporary bridge, allowing the food to slide over the air hole and safely drop into the stomach pipe. But this system requires perfect millisecond timing. If you laugh while you are eating, if you talk while you are chewing, or if your brain simply misfires for a fraction of a second, the trapdoor stays open. The food drops straight into your lungs, and suddenly you are fighting for your life. Evolution is a ruthless process. It meticulously eliminates traits that get you killed. If an anatomical flaw causes thousands of members of a species to randomly die while performing the most basic survival task, eating, that flaw should be wiped out of the gene pool immediately.
So why did evolution actively sabotage our throats? Why did it merge the air tube and the food tube, creating this deadly intersection?
The answer is actually one of the most incredible trade-offs in the history of life on Earth. It all comes down to a structure called the larynx, also known as the voice box. In most mammals, the voice box sits very high up in the throat, practically connecting to the nasal passage. This is what keeps their air and food separated. But millions of years ago, as our primate ancestors began to evolve, something bizarre happened. The human voice box started to drop. It sank lower and lower down into the neck. As it dropped, it dragged the windpipe down with it, creating that dangerous shared space, the pharynx, above it. But why? Why drop the voice box? Because by lowering the voice box, evolution created a massive empty cavern inside the human throat. This empty space became an acoustic echo chamber. If your voice box is high up like a dog's, you can bark, you can whine, you can make noises, but you cannot shape those sounds. But with a lowered voice box and a large, empty chamber above it, humans gained the ability to use their tongue, lips, and throat to manipulate sound waves with extreme precision. We gained the ability to produce distinct vowels. We gained the ability to articulate complex consonants. We gained language. Every single word you speak, every song you sing, every warning you shout to your tribe is only possible because your voice box dropped deep into your throat, putting you at a constant risk of choking. This was the ultimate evolutionary gamble. Evolution looked at the human body and made a choice. It traded the safety of swallowing for the ability to communicate, and it was the greatest trade in the history of the world. Language allowed ancient humans to share complex ideas. It allowed us to plan sophisticated hunting strategies. It allowed us to pass down knowledge from one generation to the next. Language built tribes. Tribes built societies. Societies built cities, empires, science, and the modern world. We conquered the entire planet, not because we were strong and not because we were fast, but because we could talk to each other. So, the next time you accidentally choke on a sip of water and spend 5 minutes coughing your lungs out, don't curse your biology. You aren't poorly designed. You are just experiencing the dangerous side effect of the most powerful weapon evolution ever gave us. We risk death every single time we eat lunch, just so we can say hello.